What's going on, guys? This is Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, coming to you from a very echoey, unfinished room of my house right here. This is actually going to be the new Hustler headquarters. But more importantly, this video is about something totally different than all that. This video is about one of the bikes that I found this morning and the decision process I made to justify spending $150 on this bike. Now, this bike will go to my girlfriend, who really likes it, but you know, if she wasn't really in the picture, I would have hustled this bike like hands down. And I think it's worth about $250, maybe $300, and it's a cool vintage Fuji. So let's have a look at this bike right now. Here it is, a Team Fuji, really cool, steel frame bike, single speed, all right? This bike originally was not a single speed bike, and how do you tell this? Because the original shifters went here, as you can see, and then you know because the cables would also travel down this one way, and then their cable little routing things right here, if you can take a look. And then the cable goes to the rear derailleur. You can see where it threads in right here, and then the derailleur would be right here with all the gears. So this was actually a Team Fuji kind of racing bike used for their team, but someone decided, hey, that frame looks pretty cool. I'm going to make it a single speed / fixie bike. And yeah, a lot of people in a lot of towns are doing these kind of bikes. They're basically stripping all the gears off and combining it, just making it one gear only, just for urban commuting. Now, some people do what's called single speed. How do I know it's a single speed? Because when you reverse your actual pedaling, it's a freewheel, okay? Now, there's another term called fixie riding, and fixie means when you reverse, it's basically locked. You can go like this, or you can go like this, or like this, and it's very dangerous, but the way you stop the bike is basically only using the pedals and reversing your actual momentum on the cranks. So to go forward, you go like this. To stop, you basically have to make sure your legs go like this. It's super hard, and it's a really good workout, but you see a lot of people, like messenger people with bags slung around their shoulders, doing it in every town. Now, this bike is an actual fixie bike as well. It's not just a single speed. If you look back at this hub closely right here in the back, this hub has a flip-flop hub, so it can be single speed, or if you detach this rim, flip it around, this right here is a fixie gear. It's completely stuck, whereas this one rotates freely. That's the single speed, and here's the fixie. So it is basically two bikes in one. Now, what do I like about this bike? You know, first of all, the color is really neat. So the color alone is going to account for a huge portion of the resale value of this bike. Not to mention the fact that it's a 1980s frame, which is really neat. Now you have this cool saddle. This is aftermarket. This is not the original that they put on. They also put on some really interesting brakes. This is Shimano 600 vintage brakes. So I already knew by looking at this that that's pretty cool stuff. Stuff like here, the actual hoods and the front brakes, these are all aftermarket current day things, including the bar. The things that are still vintage on this bike are the frame, the fork, all right? And this is a lugged frame, as you can see. It's not welded, it's lugged. When you see things like this, that means now you're dealing really in vintage road bikes right there. And then Shimano 600 was stuff that was found in like the late 80s, early 90s as a really good group set for your bike to have. Group set being brakes and a lot of Shimano 600 shifters and rear derailleurs and this and that. So if you see a lot of Shimano 600 stuff, you're typically going to find it on vintage bikes, and it's a very good group set back in the day. What else do I like on this bike? It has these things called deep V rims. Now these deep V rims are current day. They're not what came on the bike back in the day. Back in the day, it was more than likely a nice shiny chrome wheel with a thin tire attached with gears and blah blah blah. But more current day, people like these Velocity DPs because A, they look really cool, and B, they actually cut through the wind a little bit better, okay? So if you're hauling ass and you only got one gear, you kind of want to have some speedy looking rims, and they actually do function and give you pretty good forward basically momentum, and they can break the wind as the wind comes through the front of the bike and it wraps around the body and comes through the back of the bike. These are aftermarket, and they come from a brand called Originate. At least the hubs are Originate, and I think the wheels or the rims are a brand called Weinman. But I had to ask the guy that's how I figured it out. But Originate is pretty good stuff. It's not the best, but it's very affordable, current day, single speed or fixed seat gear. Outside of that, it has some cool cage pedals that I like. And this alone, you know, when I look at this bike, this Team Fuji uncleaned frame, I like basically, you know, from here to here is my favorite part. That part alone could probably fetch about 200 bucks, you know, locally or on eBay. The rest of the stuff, probably to me, worth about 100 bucks. And that's just kind of like dress. I dress that part for the bike. But it's certainly not needed to sell this. So if you ever go to a garage sale, estate sale, or whatever, and you find just the frame, buy it if you can get it for dirt cheap. So we spent about 150 on this bike. You know, we could sell it for about 250, maybe 300 if we wanted to. But yeah, she's gonna ride it around a little bit and see how she likes it. And you know, we'll just go from there. If we just don't like it, you know, we can always not only get our money back, but we can make some hustler profits. So I hope you like what I've been talking about today. I want you guys to see how the hustler eye kind of works and what I look for in my bikes. This is just one that I decided to keep, but for the most part, I do hustle a whole lot of bikes. And through my videos, hopefully you get to see what I'm looking for and how I translate what this looks like into actual cash. All right, talk to you guys later. Comment, like, subscribe, find me on Facebook. See you later.